What's going on, guys? Zachary Shemicki here from ZC Aesthetics, and today's video we're going to be going over the basics of exercise and nutrition. Reach for the stars, 'cause we're aiming high. So I hope you've been enjoying my consistent posting schedule. A couple weeks ago I made a post on Facebook talking about trying to get back in the YouTube game and uploading consistently. So I asked my friends on Facebook what kind of content they'd like to see. And one thing that I decided to start with is going to be a beginner's guide to exercise and nutrition. So a lot of people don't know where to start, what to do, and there's all this bad information out there, like I've said in my previous videos, and people are still stuck and don't know how to get started or what's true, what's false. So I'm going to be covering 5 different areas: exercise, nutrition, water, sleep, and stress. So starting off with nutrition, we're going to talk about calories, macronutrients, basically what each of them does, just a quick idea of what they do in the body, what they do for you, and we're going to be talking about how to set up your nutrition, just real general kind of stuff. So starting off, if you want to lose weight, you need to be in a caloric deficit or burning more calories than you consume. If you want to gain weight, you need to be in a caloric surplus. So basically you're going to be able to do this the easiest way by simply manipulating your nutrition. There are 3 different macronutrients: protein, carbohydrates, and fats. These 3 macronutrients are going to be what contain calories. Protein and carbohydrates are going to have 4 calories per gram, and fats are going to have 9 calories per gram. So first off, we have proteins. These are going to be found all throughout your body, in your hair, skin, nails, in your blood. Your muscles are made of them. They make up different enzymes that do chemical reactions in your bodies. Basically, they're just all over. There are a lot of different kinds. They have a lot of different functions. And in the diet, protein is important for retaining muscle mass while you're dieting and in a deficit, and it's also going to be important in creating new muscle when you're trying to gain weight. Next is going to be carbohydrates, and contrary to what a lot of people believe and what is out there on the internet and everything, carbs are not bad for you. They're not going to make you fat, and they're very important in the body, as they're the body's main source of energy, especially during higher intensity exercise. Another function of carbohydrates is that they spare protein. So when we don't eat enough carbs, the body is going to be going to protein next, and it's going to use a process called gluconeogenesis, and that's basically turning non-carbohydrate material into glucose to use in the blood for energy, and that's going to break down your proteins. So basically you're going to lose muscle, and your body's going to use that for energy as opposed to carbohydrates that it would originally use. Another thing that falls into the carbohydrate category is fiber, and this is going to help maintain normal gastrointestinal function. So it's going to help you have normal, healthy bowel movements, help with digestion and all that. The final macronutrient is going to be your fats, and these are very energy dense. Like I said before, they have 9 calories per gram, and if you have a lot of fats, you're going to be putting yourself at risk to being in a caloric surplus, and if you want to lose weight, that's not really ideal. So I'm not saying you have to cut out fat. You definitely need 20 to 35% of your daily calories to be coming from fats, and you want those to be from healthy fats, so like avocados, peanuts, really any nut actually, olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, salmon. So fats are important because they are carriers for fat-soluble vitamins, and it's going to help absorb them into the bloodstream and into the body. Eating fats is also going to help to improve satiety and flavors in your meals, so that's another reason that you don't want to cut them out. So now that we kind of went over real generally what each macronutrient is for and how many calories are in each of them, we're going to talk about your daily calorie goals. So basically, how much do you need to eat a day to reach your goal? So it's important to remember that a healthy rate of fat loss is going to be 1 to 2 pounds a week, so you don't want to make any crazy goals that isn't healthy or isn't going to be realistic, because that's just going to make you fall off track in the long run, and it's going to take a lot longer to get to where you want to be. And it'll be a lot more unhealthy if you go a lot higher than that. How do you figure out how many calories you need to eat? One of the first ways that you can do this is to track what you eat for 2 weeks. Try to get everything that you can I know if you're just trying to do this for general health, you don't need to be super on point, but it is very important that you try as best as you can and you pay attention to everything that you take that has calories. So foods, beverages, liquids, sauces, all that kind of stuff contains calories and is going to contribute to your overall daily calorie intake. So after you've been doing this for 2 weeks, you're also going to be wanting to weigh yourself at least 3 times a week. It's a lot better if you do it every day, but that's not realistic for everyone, especially if you're just trying to get started. So 3 times a week is going to be good, and you're going to want to use all of those daily weigh-ins to find your weekly average weight, because weight fluctuates day by day because of stress levels, sleep, when you ate last, hydration. So paying attention to it every day isn't going to be a good idea of your actual weight. So what you want to do is weigh yourself multiple times a week, like I said, and you're going to want to do that in the morning on an empty stomach before you eat or drink anything, and right after you go to the bathroom. So after you've been tracking what you eat and you've been tracking your weight, you're going to want to see what happens to your weight after those 2 weeks. If your weight stays the same and you eat about the same amount of calories every day, that is going to be your maintenance level, or basically what your body needs to basically just stay the same. So if you want to gain weight, you want to add maybe 300 to 500 calories. You don't want to go super fast because you're going to gain a lot of fat that way. And if you want to lose weight, you should subtract maybe 500 calories a day. That'll usually lead to about a pound lost a week, but it's not going to be exact, so don't rely on that 100%. Just pay attention to your averages. If you're losing weight, keep going. If you plateau or stop making progress, readjust your calories and basically go from there. Another way to figure out how many calories you should be eating a day is to just take your weight and multiply it by 14 to 16 based on your activity level. 14 if you're relatively sedentary, you don't move around much, you sit at a desk all day. 16 if you're very active, you have an active job, you're moving around a lot throughout the day and you're going to be burning more calories. 15 if you're just in the middle or just want a place to start. And again, you're going to want to do this for 2 weeks and track your weight throughout the week, watch what happens to the averages, and then basically do what I said in the first scenario, which is to adjust based on what happens to your weight and what your goal is. Another way you can figure out your maintenance calories is to use an equation. With my clients, I like to use the Mifflin equation, and this takes into account your gender, your age, your weight, and your height, and you multiply that by an activity factor, which is basically how much you move around and how active you are, and this will give another estimation of where your maintenance calories should be. So again, same thing, you're going to want to do that for a couple weeks, track your weight, see what happens, and then make adjustments from there. So what should your macronutrients be composed of? So you want, for protein, you want to use about 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight, and that's how many you should be having a day. 0.8 should be if you are trying to gain weight, put on muscle. You don't need as much protein because in a caloric surplus, you're not going to be risking losing muscle. So you don't need as much as when you're dieting and low on calories and trying to keep as much muscle and lean mass as possible. Up next is going to be fats. So you want about 20 to 35% of your total calories for the day to come from fats. Basically, to figure this out, you just multiply your total calories per day once you have that figured out, and you're gonna multiply that by from anywhere between 0.2 to 0.35. And this is just gonna vary based on preference. So if you prefer higher carbohydrates in your meal, or if you prefer carbohydrates, you might wanna go on the lower end. If you prefer fats, you might wanna go on the higher end. Or if it doesn't really matter, maybe going somewhere in between. And then after you have this number, you're gonna divide that by 9, because that's gonna be the total calories of the day coming from fats. And so dividing that by 9, you're going to get how many grams per day you should have. Finally is going to be carbohydrates, and this is going to make up the rest of your calories. So you're just going to take your calories from fats, multiply your grams of protein by 4, and that's how many calories from protein you're going to have. And then add those together, subtract it from the total, and then that's going to be how many calories you're going to have from carbohydrates. And then to find out how many grams that is, you just divide that by 4 as well, because there are 4 calories per gram. Overall, your diet should consist of whole, nutrient-dense foods, so things like lean meats or fatty fish like salmon, so you're going to be getting your good fats from it, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, just to ensure that you aren't going overboard on calories. These are going to be high satiety foods, meaning you're going to get a lot of volume from them and you're going to fill up a lot faster and feel more satisfied from them. You're also going to get your fiber, your micronutrients, so like phytochemicals, vitamins, minerals. Those are all important for your daily health as well. And if you're craving something, it's important not to completely cut it out or just to ignore the craving. If you want a little something, fit it in during the day, maybe have a little bit just to satisfy your craving. But if you cut it out completely, that can just lead to a bad relationship with food, and that can lead to you binging, falling off plan, and just not really enjoying the process. So once you figure out your nutrition, what kind of foods you like that are nutrient dense and are going to be nutritionally beneficial to you, you can easily fit in things that you like, things that you enjoy that maybe aren't going to be so nutritionally dense. And then if you do have these things, try to fit them in before or after a workout when your body is actually going to use them. And just make sure you're doing as best as you can, trying to stay on track every day and doing the best with what you have. Up next, we're going to talk about exercise. And a lot of people think that you have to go to the gym every day to get to where you want to be. Mainly the important thing is to find a type of exercise that you personally enjoy and are going to stick with, because that is going to be the most beneficial to you in the long term. Because if you pick something that you don't like and you kind of force yourself to do it, you're not going to enjoy it and you're eventually going to have bad feelings towards exercise. You're not going to stick with it and you're just going to be right back to square one where you started. But because I'm a bodybuilder, I'm going to talk about weight training and how to set up different programs, maybe if you're just starting out. So some benefits of strength training are going to be increased bone density, you're going to be stronger, you'll most likely have an improved quality of life. It's going to make doing daily activities easier just because you're stronger and you are more in shape. Weight training and exercise can also be beneficial in helping decrease anxiety, depression, and it can also help you increase your confidence. And if you want to improve your body composition or build muscle, resistance training or strength training is going to be your best option, just because you need to put your muscles under a load and continuously increase that in order to get stronger and put on muscle. So if you want to get big, running marathons, biking long distances, it's not really going to be beneficial to you if your main goal is to put on muscle and put on strength. So the first thing you need to do when you're just starting off is to not just go in and kind of do whatever you want. You want to start off with some kind of plan. You want to pick a split to do, so basically how you're going to split up your workouts and how you're going to split them up by the week. So really the easiest thing to do for most beginners, and is going to be probably your best option if you're just starting and don't want to commit to every day or 4 to 6 times a week, is to do full body 3 times a week. Otherwise you can go with other kind of splits, so like push-pull legs, basically where you're doing push movements on one day, pull movements on the next day, legs on another day, and then you can either repeat that or have a rest day and then repeat it. But that's going to end up giving you 6 days in the gym a week and 1 day off. You can also do an upper-lower body split, which is basically doing upper body exercises on one day, lower body exercises the next day, or taking a rest day in between, doing an upper lower, then rest, and then repeating it. You can basically kind of set that up and put in your rest days wherever you see fit or wherever you would most enjoy them. You can also do something that's called a bro split, which is basically doing a different body part every week. And for some people, they like it. That's basically what I started off with once I started getting into bodybuilding and made all my newbie gains on it. But it's not going to be super beneficial to you because you're not going to be getting the frequency that you need training each muscle to optimally grow. But if you enjoy it and it's what you're able to stick with, then by all means go for it. So once you have your split picked out, you're going to need to figure out what you're going to do for your exercises. So if you're planning on doing any kind of power movements, so like hang cleans, clean and jerks, that kind of stuff, we're going to be doing an explosive movement that's going to be quick and uses up a lot of energy. You're going to want to do that at the beginning of your workout after you warm up. For a warm up, I usually just go on a treadmill, do some light accessory movements for the smaller muscles like rotator cuffs or my hips, just to get the blood flowing and get the joints all lubricated and ready to go. After power movements, if you do those, you're going to want to go with heavy compound lifts, and these should be what all of your workouts revolve around, just because they put your body under the most stress. They use a lot of muscles in your body to use them, not just one specific one, and you're going to be able to use more weight with them, putting a higher load on your muscles, and this is going to cause your muscle fibers to tear and regrow back bigger and stronger as compared to doing a isolation movement. And then after the compound movements, you're going to want to go with some accessory movements. So maybe if you are doing a push day or a chest day, you start off with a bench press, then maybe you want to go with some kind of machine press or some kind of dumbbell presses. Still doing some kind of presses where you're using multiple joints, but you're not going to be using as much weight, and it's not going to be as much of a stress on your body as the initial compound movement was. And these are just going to be help to accumulate volume, which is needed for muscle growth. And then at the end, you're going to want to finish with isolation movements, and these are going to be basically just to target one specific muscle, put it through its full range of motion, and then kind of finish it off at the end of the workout, especially if you really want that muscle to grow. So maybe you're doing we'll stick with the chest day or a push day example. So say you're doing a bench press, then you move on to an incline press, then you move on to a decline press, then to finish off, maybe you'll go with a cable fly or use a pec deck to do some flies, or do a dumbbell fly, where it is just a single joint movement and it's to isolate the muscle and just kind of get blood to flow into it, and to finish off with a nice pump and start getting some nutrients into the muscle. So for all splits, you're going to want to try to split it up between muscle group. You want to go with about 10 to 20 sets per week of each muscle. You're going to want to start on the low end of that and then progressively increase your load over time. So maybe you're going to start off with a certain number of sets one week and then maybe do another set the next week, or you're going to slowly increase weight week after week, maybe add another rep or two the next week, and this is going to help keep you progressing. And eventually you're going to hit a plateau after you make all your noob gains, or the gains that you get when you start off and your body is just adjusting to this new stimulus. And then once you hit that plateau, you're going to need to do a deload week, which is basically just a reduction of overall volume. So maybe you drop the weight down a little bit and you leave a couple more reps in reserve. And by that I mean that you'll still be able to do a couple of reps, but you're stopping before you reach failure. And this brings me to my next point, which is gonna be going to failure. You don't want to go to failure with every workout, every exercise, every day. That's just gonna be bad for recovery for you. Eventually you're gonna start feeling drained, you're not gonna have energy, you're not going to be able to progress as much. So instead of going to failure each time, you're going to want to leave 1 to 2 reps in reserve, meaning that you can do an extra rep or two before failure. And then as far as muscle growth, if you go to failure each time, you're not going to be able to make as much progress as you would if you kind of dial it back a little bit and allow your body to recover, because rest is going to be where your body grows. So you're not going to get stronger if you keep wearing it down and don't allow it to recover. And it'll also allow you to keep progressing. So to kind of recap, just make sure you're eating a nutritionally dense diet. You're getting enough protein, carbs, and fats based on your goal. As far as exercising, you're hitting each major muscle group 2 to 3 times a week, and you're getting about 48 hours of rest in between working muscle groups. And just make sure you're enjoying the process. So if you liked the video, make sure to leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, and for future videos, subscribe. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. You can DM me there if you have any questions about anything. And if you're interested in online coaching, head to the link that is in the description box below to my website and fill out an application, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. So keep working hard, and I will see you guys in the next video.